Here we are by the Colorado River, not too far from where I first met Amen physically. We had a camp, I'd say 6 miles, maybe almost right in the middle of this dirt road between Ehrenberg and the Saboba Bridge. I came in this time off of the Saboba Bridge. It's quicker, less dirt road, and the old camp. The beaches are not happening anymore. You know, they've gone in there with rocks and bulldozers. But this is a really nice camp right here. Yeah, every time I come here, the sacredness of what we experienced in our old camp. Oh yeah. Every brother and sister has memories of being here with Amen. And the spot we actually camped up in the wash, and we built a sauna up on the side of the wash and into a hill. Beautiful little. I don't know how we fitted so many people in that sauna, because I remember quite a few brothers in there. And then we had a shower set up on the brothers' beach. We had a tub that we heated water in, and then a coffee can with holes in it. And we would mix water in buckets, cold and hot. And a brother would stand over you with a coffee can, and you could, get wet and then rinse off. Of course, you had the river right there, but in the wintertime, it was cold. We also used to jump in the river from the sauna, run from the sauna into the river. That was beautiful. And the first time I came here, I was given directions by a brother who walked with me, Micah, from Santa Barbara. And he almost made it here with me, but he got pulled back to his girlfriend and whatever life he had before we got here. And so when I got here, I hadn't met Amen physically before, and I had traveled now for a year. And yeah, I even took off the road for a little while, put it back on in Seattle or Yakima. And so here I am. I make it to the river on the Arizona side, where the exit's called Ehrenberg. And I get it down by the river, and when I'm looking for the road, because I know I have to go 10 miles approximately down the road to find a camp, I see 3 different roads, and I don't know which one to take. And I'm on foot, barefoot, with my sleeping bag, white robe, first year on the road. And there's a guy down there near the river, and he's collecting bottles. He's got a pickup truck. And I go down and I ask him about which road to take to get 10 miles down the river. And he says, "Oh, you got to take that one." He says, "What are you going down there for?" I said, "Well, I got brothers and sisters down there, like myself." He says, "Oh, yeah?" He goes, "Well, they better not be doing this and they better not be doing that, because I'm a U.S. Marshal and they're not allowed to be doing those things." And I said, "Well, I'm sure everything's okay. They've been here for quite a while." And then I go walking off. And sure enough, I could feel him. He comes driving behind me in his truck. I get in there. He says, "I'll take you." So I jump in there. Now, this is me meeting Amen for the very first time physically. And I had a prayer. I wanted to hear him rap. I wanted to feel the spirit I knew in me coming through him. And so, anyways, here's Ed driving down the road. He's going fast. He's a little swerving. I light up a smoke. He says, "What are you smoking for?" And I told him, the Lord gave it. And and he's trying to scare me a little bit. And we get through it, and then we find the camp, and we drive up into the wash. And here's the brothers sitting in a circle on blankets on the ground in boxer shorts. It's pretty warm. And there's a parachute set up as a shade cover and a little kitchen underneath, and the sisters are there in robes, and everybody's in their bare feet, of course. I mean, it's out of time vision to the max. And so I get out of the truck, and there's Amen. He looks up at me and he says, "Hey, hey, brother." See a lot of miracles on your way here? I see you all the way to here. And then I sat down next to him. Well, out comes Ed. That was his name, Marshal Ed. He really wasn't a marshal anymore, but he was carrying that with him. And so he got out, he straps on a 6 gun and comes out and confronts us. And right away, he hones right in on amen. And he starts telling amen, you know, you guys are going to have to move. You're not allowed to be here. And I'm a U.S. Marshal, and that's the way it is. And amen, sitting cross-legged on the ground. He's not saying a thing. He's looking down at the ground. And Ed's pacing back and forth. I'm sitting right next to amen. This is my introduction to physically meeting amen. And so Ed, he's already getting irritated because amen's not making a move. And he knows, he already picked up that amen's the one he needs to talk to. So he starts reiterating, you know, you people have to move. I mean, this is real. You got to go. I mean, there's going to be trouble if you guys don't move. Amen still doesn't say a word. And he finally looks up at Ed and he says, do you have any papers? Because BLM has been here. Do you have anything telling us that we have to move? Well, now Ed was lying. He was busted. And so now he's really getting fired up. And he's pacing back and forth. And he goes, no, this is serious. You people have to move. There's going to be trouble. And after a space, amen looks up at him and says, well, he says, we can't go anywhere right away anyways because the one vehicle we have is in town. And we'll have to wait for them to come back before we can wrap everything up. And now Ed's he's really irritated. And he's pacing back and forth. And I hear amen say, real quiet, I really don't want to have to do it. And he looks up at Ed and he sings to him. I looked over the River Jordan and what did I see? And the next line is a band of angels coming after me. Of course, anybody knows that song. And the vision, totally. Well, in the meantime, you know, before amen sang the song, that's right, Ed already put his hand on his gun and was getting ready to draw on amen when amen sang that to him. Well, that flipped Ed's pancake. Next thing you know, he's going, I ain't got nothing against you people. I'm trying to help you people. I was starting to like that guy. He's pointing to me. He says, I tell you what, I got some land. I got 12 miles of land to the east and 13 miles of land to the west, miles of land. It's not far from here. I got a cabin on it. You people can stay there and nobody can mess with you. What ended up, amen went for it. We didn't have to, but that was amen. He just, you know, the truck came in, we loaded it up and went out into this far out wilderness place in the desert, not too far away. It wasn't that far away. It was an old turquoise mine. And sure enough, there was a cabin there with no furniture, had a fireplace, and it was just barren area. You know, like the Kaffa, which I just came out of, you know, really barren place. No water. So, but we set up camp there for Ed. And being a new brother, you know, I'd been on the road for a year, but I really been by myself almost the whole time. And at least I hadn't been around brothers and sisters who were already walking and knew amen in a more physical way. And so, amen, it just started this movement of be nice, rejoice, and enjoy. which was to complement no killing, no sex, and no materialism, meaning lighten up, brothers and sisters. You get the whole world here as your footstool. Have fun and stay on the foundation, but be nice. No killing. Rejoice in being free and being like children and enjoy the things that the Father made here. So all the realms opened up. Well, the brothers and sisters were revelating like crazy. I mean, it was a gang there of brothers and sisters. I didn't know anything about it. I was like a drunk. I was so high in the spirit of just being in the presence. And then Ed would come in and he'd get in the middle of the circle and Amen would rap to him. He'd bring food offerings. And one day he comes in and he goes, okay. He said, if I want to join you people, do I got to get rid of my truck? And now Amen turns to him and he says, yeah, yeah. And Ed goes, well, I'll get rid of my truck if you get rid of your truck. First vehicle family had was this little love truck. And, and Amen says to Ed, says, man, you go to the doctor and you tell the doctor you're sick. And the doctor says, okay, take this medicine and you will get well. You don't turn around to the doctor and tell him to take the medicine if he's not sick. So, I mean, I got to sit here with Amen for a couple of weeks, I believe. It was at least a week, probably a little longer than a week. Like I say, I was really spaced. Oh yeah, I should tell one more story. It was really cute because the brothers, they wanted to go to Hawaii and they were looking for a way to generate money to get tickets to get to Hawaii. And there was the turquoise mine that we were sitting right on. So they decided to send one of the brothers down into the mine, get enough turquoise, pay for the tickets. And they're all talking about this at night, and Amen's resting a ways away. And so then Ed's over there, and they're mentioning, that they're going to have to put somebody down there, and he's going to have to put on some shoes. So what size shoes do you have, Ed? And it says, well, I got a size 8 shoe. Who's got size 8? I got size 8, Gary. Well, the last thing I wanted to do was go down in that mine. I had no idea how far down it was either. Ends up, it was way down there. And Amen gives the logistics, a little bit of the logistics to blow the whole thing away. And I was like, oh, thank you, Amen. Oh, yeah. One other thing I could share. The first time that I met Amen, I mean, I could share two things. One is right after we landed at the cabin, uh, he went back to the river with Sharon. I was kind of dirty. So Sharon gave me a brand new robe that she had sewn. And so I had this nice clean robe on while I was washing my old one. And I sat next to him, man, and I was thinking, what could I say to him? And he looked at me and he said, well, what are words anyways? Words are just feelings put into words. I'm going to say amen to that one.